Hello, everyone. This is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into all of this stuff we are shipping out on Friday. Still going pretty strong, eBay, that is. All right. First up is going to be Dark Horse Extra Comics. This is issue number 36 from 2001. I got a bunch of these oversized comics from Dark Horse Comics. I don't have all of them, but I have like 30 or so different numbers of them, and I have a bunch of each one. And then whenever one sells, I relist another. So these have been going super strong for me. $20.99 plus shipping. Everything is going to be plus shipping, so I'll just save us the time right now. All right. Yeah, people like the comic stuff. Next up is going to be some cards for a board game, promo cards. My cat's like holding on to it right there. These are going to be foil promo cards for a board game called Moonrakers. I don't know anything about it other than it had this. There's certain board games that have a marketing blitz where they'll, be plastered all over the place, from all the way from influencers all the way to like websites and stuff. And I still don't know what the game was about. And that's usually a red flag for me, is when there's a marketing blitz and then I never hear about the board game again. So I got some of these promos from a bunch of board game promos like a few weeks ago. And at first I was like, I think I know what that art is. And I looked up, I was like, oh, that's Moonraker. So no idea if people like this game or not, but these are going to be some extra foil cards. This ended up going for $21 right there. So that's a lot for some promo cards. So some people like it. Obviously, people have different opinions of what board games they like and which ones they dislike. I just always think it's weird with the marketing blitz. All right, I'm going to move on. So next up is going to be some Zombicide second edition bits and pieces. I've only played this game once. You pick some heroes, you go through some scenarios, you use some dice. It's pretty easy to play. And then you have all these miniatures that people can buy cool miniature or not. It's like a co-op game. These are just gonna be some like bits and pieces. There's a ton of expansions for this game, like a lot. There's probably like over like 70 at this point. So yeah, these little pieces went for $5.87. This is going to a repeat buyer. I know a lot of people like Zombicide. That was kind of a game that got them into board games. For me, it was Settlers of Catan. All right. Next up is going to be now this was like, there's a little funny story with this one. So we have a bunch of these. I think they're Revel. Are they Revel? No, no, no. Yeah, Revel, the company. These are going to be 1 out of 32 scales, so they're like bigger than the toy soldiers. There are a bunch of these different Napoleonic cavalry. These ones were like colored green. And I had 4 different lots of 3 of these blue ones. I think these were British light cavalry right here. But this person kept sending messages about how they wanted a bunch of my listings. And I said, my message was always, oh, hey, you can send me the offer button. First, I looked, they said like they wanted to pay $70 for all the stuff. They gave me a bunch of item numbers. I couldn't figure out what items they were. So then I asked to clarify, got a bunch of stuff. And then I kept asking the person, I was like, oh, can you send me the offer? So that total 70. And then they kept sending me messages as if that was the offer. Like this happened 3 or 4 times. And Netta was losing her mind and she was cracking up. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make a new listing. And I sent it to the person, and then they went ahead and bought it. But yeah, they were thinking that the messages were offers. So yeah, sometimes you got to do like some extra work to get the sale. If I did not do that, I don't know if the person would have figured out to, take the 5 listings that they wanted from me and then to send the offers, split it up between $70. Yeah, that was quite the messages back and forth. All right, neither of us were getting upset. We were just kind of like talking past each other. All right, next up is going to be these are going to be lightly used comic backing whiteboards. So I got like some comics occasionally, and then I was unbagging them from these things and making like lots of them. So like this wouldn't be as useful. I asked Annetta, she doesn't like these as backing for shipping stuff. So I was like almost gonna throw them away, and I was like, wait a second, I know people will probably, because these are in very good shape. They were probably used the one time that I had the comics in them from someone else. So I went ahead and listed them with the right dimensions right there, and then now someone bought them. $10.49. So I almost tossed that one out. It's rare for me to toss out stuff, but last second I was like, oh, someone could purchase this. Kind of like how I do for the trading card game sleeves and stuff. I'm not like a comics person. Like I've read some and I like some, but like I didn't think of that as like the sleeves that you could sell, and they are. All right. Next up is Civilization. This is going to be, was it Call to Power? This is a PC manual book right here. You see me sell strategy guide books and manuals without the games and stuff. People like to complete their collections. They like to read these. So then I'm going for $7. It's kind of like a fun category I like to list and then sell, even though I only get between usually $8 to like $20. There's a couple of strategy guide books I got lucky because they were more rare, but like, I don't know, I just enjoy them. I have a couple of like PC manuals I just keep for like Warcraft and Starcraft and Diablo ones, just because I enjoy having them around. All right. Next up is going to be Goosebumps, How I Got My Shrunken Head right here. This is going to be number 39. I don't think this is like a super crazy rare one, but the later on numbers there are less of them. This is not a first edition. Inside, if you see, there will be a bunch of numbers. If there's the one there, that's gonna be a first edition. Ignore the part that says like first printing. That has nothing to do with the first edition. But yeah, this one ended up going for $10.49. This is gonna go international. I remember like during 2020, 2021, Goosebump books were going for a lot more, but $10.49 for one book is still pretty good. I'll occasionally check like our half price books to see if they have any good Goosebumps. I haven't found anything in a long time for them. All right, next up is going to be the backgammon right here. Just dice. Someone had accepted one of our offers like a week ago, and it took them a week to pay. I've talked about this before, where I give people a ton of time to pay. I don't even click on the tab waiting for payments often, unless if like I'll occasionally check to see if we have to send an invoice for one person who got a couple things and they're waiting for the invoice to pay. But yeah, this is gonna be 2 red dice, 2 white dice, and just like the 32 die right here, or 64 die. I haven't played backgammon. I know people like all the classic games, chess, checkers, just all the poker, all the playing cards and stuff. I sell this stuff all the time. $8 for this right there, which is pretty good for those dice. They do look like a good quality classic one. People really care about how their dice and their board game pieces look, so they don't want like cheap. They want the ones that they want, and I've learned that over time that people can be picky about their accessories. And I knew that those ones looked pretty good, so I took good pictures because they kind of look like that vintage look and feel. They're probably like an older version of dice from different bicycle sets and stuff. All right. Next up is going to be Gloomhaven. So this is going to be a fantasy game, but this is going to be just some condition tokens, these little square ones. You got like poison, strength, stun, stealth, and then you got a bunch of the extra coins here. Maybe someone just wants, like, I feel like the base game kind of gives you enough, as well as draws a line and frosting. I feel like you get enough of them, but maybe sometimes someone wants more coins, or that maybe they want to make their own scenarios, or they're trying something out, so they want more of these pieces. Or theirs got damaged or lost. They dropped them somewhere. These are little pieces, easy, where like you drop it and then like they disappear into the void, and later on you find them in a vacuum. So $6.99 for these. This is going to repeat buyer. I'll break down like Gloomhavens when I don't have the thing complete. That thing has like probably over 1,000 pieces, cards and stuff. So it's a hard game to count. I've played it with Aneta twice, so like I can go through and count that game faster than probably like someone who's just like opening the box and they're going like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Like someone else would just be like, that's someone else's problem. All right. Next up, we have this. This is going to be 2 sprues. These are going to be Chaos Space Marine bits and pieces. These are going to be for like kit bashing, or if someone has extra torsos or feet and stuff like that. There's a bunch of arms with guns, and then there's some going to be, there's like a chest piece or maybe a shoulder piece and some axes there. So yeah, these end up going for $13.71. This was in a bin where I had a bunch of other bits and pieces that I had won an auction and listed them, and there's not that much left. Like there's still a good amount, because like when I buy lots sometimes at auctions, there'll be like big bins of stuff. That's usually what I go for, because like you can spend like a decent amount of money, but then you can like flip it for a lot more. $13.71 for this. All right, moving along, we have Olympic Heroes trading cards. At first I thought this was a playing card deck, because it kind of has a classic look of a playing card deck, but it's just Olympic Heroes. There's just 44 different Olympians on here. They're just cards like that. They do kind of look like playing cards, but they don't have like the suits or the numbers. I got the M&M branding up here in front. But yeah, this ended up going for $9.80 right there. People like watching the Olympics, and they're into all sorts of different like the winter sports and stuff. I think Aneta's parents, like, they like to watch like the winter ones as well, like the skiing and all that. I usually don't watch too much of it. Sports is out of my realm. I'm into the nerd stuff. All right, there's only so much time to invest or to divest your attention and energy into, and I'm already deep in on the nerd stuff. All right, moving along, we have a playmat for this board game called Onitama. I played it a couple times. It's a fast playing like chess game. As you can see, you have like a little grid here. This actually is a weird playmat where it comes within the board game. The board game is like kind of like this rectangular box, and then it comes with this playmat. So this is not an extra one. In a lot of board games, these playmats will be extra. So this is like a piece for a game. So I'm going for $6. It's a game where you have these 3 cards out. You have cards that tell you what move you can do, and you're trying to override their piece, kind of like in chess or checkers. And then after you do a move, you flip it over to the other side, and it'll be a different move. So you end up getting 6 different moves that you can do, but only 3 at a time. And after you do a move, the other person has the same access to the same cards as well as the card you just flipped over. So you kind of have to really think about how to capture your opponent's piece to win, because they also have access to the same ones, same moves. All right, next up is going to be, these are Crazy Bones or Go-Go's. These are going to be from the very sets. These are going to be translucent green ones. These we used to get at like Zany Brainy. These were actually my personal collection as well as maybe some of my brothers, but I had the most amount of Crazy Bones. They had different series. You get these little collectible booster packs with stickers and booklets to play different games, checklists. They had different sizes. They had different colors with rarities. They would have like little ones with holes in them, so they were called whistlers. They had like gold, silver ones. These are like the jelly ones that they called. So they had all sorts of little collectibles, toys that you could play with. These the translucent green lot that I listed for sold for $14. So I like the Crazy Bones. Annetta was sad when I was listing them. I'm like, yeah, I'm over that. I have a bunch of other stuff. I can appreciate. I can pass on the Crazy Bones at this point. So I normally don't sell my stuff that I like to keep, but like that stuff I was ready to let go. All right. Next up is going to be a board Anzio. So this is going to be, you know what I was thinking right before I was filming? This thing is from 1969. That's crazy. It's just crazy that the age of some of the stuff that I sell and other people as well. So yeah, this board is a crazy long one right here. It's not a good idea for a board to be like this because if you hold it in the wrong direction, it's going to crack in the edges and then rip. And that's why I think this board sold, because this one's still in pretty good condition. There's like a little scratching right here, which is not a big deal. And then someone had put like a little label there, which is also not a big deal. This sold for $8.40. This is an Avalon Hill board game, a war game, as you can tell, with little like not hex. It was either hexes or squares or something like that. So it's gonna be one of those games where you are playing out like a battle or a war. All right. Moving along, we have DARE, Drug Abuse Resistance Education in Illinois. I don't know if other people had this in different states, but they would come to our schools and stuff and like hand out pencils, sharpeners, T-shirts, stickers, and teach us about drugs and other stuff to, you know, be safe. But yeah, this is a bumper sticker. Got a bunch of bumper stickers, I think from a storage unit flipper. So this, I was like, ah, sure, I'll give them a try. $7.34 for this one. I don't know if someone's using it to actually put on their car or if it's just nostalgic for them. All right. Next up is going to be X-Wing. This is going to be incomplete little expansion. Well, one little packet. So the expansions are these little packets that come with a ship usually, sometimes 3. You get the cards and the tokens and maybe a little rule sheet that tells you what's new about. This is the T70 right here. So I think what's missing is going to be the little base, which is easy for people to get like another base. I've sold the different colored bases because normally they come with clear ones. So you got, and then the cards. Some of the cards are missing for this, not all the cards. The cards are modular where you have so many points to spend on your upgrade points for this game. So it's not a big deal that this expansion is missing some stuff. They probably just wanted the miniature, the little movement dial, the tokens. Most people have plenty of the tokens. Every expansion comes with the tokens, but you got plenty of them. And then as well as whatever cards I had. $6.85 for this. Some of the X-Wing stuff, this is going to be a Star Wars game where you battle each other with a couple of ships and you have like points to spend on your ships and upgrades. Some of the expansions can go for a lot of money. All right, I think they eventually did a 2nd edition, and then I don't know where the game stands right now. All right, moving along, we have these 2 full thrust. This is going to be Ground Zero games. These are going to be little alien spaceships. This one is alien Phalons right there, recon scouts, and then we got these frigates right here. So these like little circular alien spaceships. I'm not too sure what exact game they go for. I had probably like 6 or 7 of these at one point. I think these were the last 2. Someone did a combo order for $28 for these. They are interesting looking. People do like miniatures. It doesn't have to be for the game, and the little spaceship ones are always intriguing for people. Moving along, we have 6 of these wax packs. Teenage Mutant Nerdle. Nerdle. I was thinking Ninja Turtle. I said Nerdle. Oh boy, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles wax packs right here. I have a ton of these. I list 6 at a time. And then when they sell, I take new pictures because there's different sticker placements. So this is from Walgreens right there. And then some of these don't have them. This one was like up. So I make sure that the person gets the accurate description of what I'm selling. Could I put quantity of like 6 and then multiple quantities of 6 and people get different sticker placements? I could maybe get away with it, but like I know people who collect sealed stuff and all of that jazz. They want exactly what they're getting. So I list 6 and then another 6. This is from the movie. These end up going for $11 for these. We were going back and forth with these people. One person that was sending offers. I think they started at like 5. We got up to 11. I think we had it up for like $20. And I relisted another 6. When I was at the storage unit, I took new pictures of where the stickers and placement would be. Some of them didn't even have the Walgreens stickers anymore. But yeah, people collect all sorts of cards. Ninja Turtles, maybe they're using those as tokens for Magic the Gathering because they did a Ninja Turtle set. I haven't looked into it yet. I haven't been into Magic in a while, but I keep getting the ads for the Ninja Turtle set. Magic now does like different IPs like Spider-Man and such. So That was my first guess. When someone bought that, I was like, maybe they're getting little tokens, because in Magic you can, like, a card will spawn another card, and then you can use whatever token or coins you want. Enough about that. Next up is going to be some Native American buffalo miniatures. So we got some buffaloes and we got some riders, and then they have like bows on them, and there's 2 horses. Really cool to find some stuff other than like basic World War II, British, German, those kind of like infantry and stuff. So I know people like getting things like Native Americans or just like other rare categories of miniatures. These end up going for $14.69 just for a couple of them. So yeah, that's awesome to find the more rare stuff. All right, moving along, we have Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I'm not 100% sure exactly what this one is. This is a war scroll, so I think these were updates to the game. And this is from the Cursed City box, I think. I wrote down that was from Cursed City. In the back, you have pitch battle profiles and stuff like that. So little upgrade booklet, or maybe it just has a little extra lore or some like extra rules or something. So I could be wrong on that one. $8.39 for this. I usually find like those smaller, lower to the ground books that don't sell for as much, but I get them cheap, and then people will still pick them up. All right, next up is going to be this really cool project that someone did. I got 2 of these, but only 1 sold. It's going to be a truck. I forget which kind. I'm not into cars, so I'm not too sure. But they did like this little wooden block here, and then it has like a magnet. So like they put the Velcro right there, or I guess you can't say Velcro. That's you can't say that on eBay. That's actually, you have to put like hook and latch or whatever it's called. Sorry, that's a random fun fact there. You can't do Velcro because they have it's a branded term. But yeah, they put that on the truck. It's well done, and it's also a nice looking die cast card. This ended up going for $17.49. This is when I picked up a bunch of stuff from the person who had the police diecast cars and the auction lot that they bought. They had a ton of other big trucks that they wanted to sell me for bulk, and I kind of passed on a lot of them. 1, it was going to be too much space, and 2, I didn't know how well they would sell for, and they kind of been selling for around this price, $17.49. I took some. I just cherry picked whatever ones I thought would look interesting to people into cars. So, I'm not into them, so I was just trying my best, but I picked out some good ones that people have been buying. All right, last up for the day, HeroScape, which they now have a new version of by Renegade Game Studios for a couple years. I'm not sure where that one stands, but this game is, the crux of it is you use these little tiles. There's different types. So this is going to be the asphalt ones. This is going to be the hex right there. There's these 2s, and then there's singles. So people will buy a bunch of these, and then they make these very extravagant battlefields and castles and stuff. So someone did like I forgot where I read about it, maybe on like Reddit or YouTube or something. Someone did like Lord of the Rings, Helm's Deep, and because like you can use these kind of almost like Lego blocks, and you can play the game with them. There's like elevation bonuses, and the different types of terrain matter. So the fact that people can make these like exuberant battlefields, these are always in demand. The little tiles right here, probably the most important for HeroScape, and maybe some of the figures. Like the figures still sell because you can still play the game. So yeah, $15 for those tiles right there. That's everything. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend.